Good to go.
Good to go.
We're back again, the dynamic duo. Today, oddly enough, we're talking about thought process. Can that impact pain? And
Emotion.
Obviously, Sean and I were in sync this morning. We got the same shirt on.
Yeah.
We're similar anyways.
We're cycling on the same
Yeah.
wavelength.
So what we wanted to get into today is a lot of people ask, or we deal with a lot of issues, physical pain at the clinic that does stem from emotional issues. So we wanted to explain a little bit today, well, how does that happen? I'm pretty sure everyone kind of has had that experience where they'd be stressed out and
Stress response.
nervous about something, and then that whole stress response takes over, and we get these symptoms. And if that's repeated over and over again, certain physical ailments can come up.
We've talked about that before, right?
We have.
With the adrenals, right?
Yeah.
And, we did a whole segment of that. So if you guys want to check that out, that's you can find that on our Facebook page.
Yeah, so it's the same. So the adrenal response or the fear response, which is basically, just to clear it up, like is normal, right?
It's a very normal response.
This is our response to trauma, whether it be physical, emotional, environmental, chemical, you name it. Like, our body reacts to stay alive. Yeah. This is what this process is for. But now, with the way we're living now, we don't have bears necessarily chasing us or these life-threatening things. It's more stressful situations that have taken over. So,
and oftentimes self-imposed.
Right.
So it's us thinking about things that may or may not even happen.
Yeah.
Which then trigger that response. So
maybe talk, Sean. Let's talk a little bit. Well, how would we know, or how would a person know, like coming here, that let's say something is stemming from an emotional problem?
A gut feeling, right? So there's a reason why it's called a gut feeling.
Yeah.
And that is, we often say most of you know what's wrong with you. You just got to actually be conscious about it and look at your situation, look at your setting, look what you're doing, and look at your environment, because a lot of you have intuition, have a gut feeling about what's going on, and that's why anytime we see patients, we talk and we listen to you guys, and we listen to what you tell us, and that helps us direct or guides us, because
it's probably the most important aspect of getting treated is obviously if the therapist is listening to you, which you would think is a no-brainer, but often it's maybe listening to the right things. I'm obviously paying attention to a lot of the words people are saying when they're describing what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And then you can always get a good generalization of what's...
So a good practitioner will be able to listen and then guide, right?
Yeah.
Prompt, so that you can actually figure out what's going on. But
and what about then to show them? I know at the clinic we use a lot of, obviously some chiropractic technique, some osteopathic techniques to fix things, but one of the evaluation tools we use too is applied kinesiology.
Yeah.
So what would a person expect if, let's say, we're working on an issue, and what would make us say, like, okay, this is perhaps coming from an emotional ground?
Yeah, so we look at health in terms of kind of like a three-sided triangle, right? So on one side of the triangle, we have the structural component, the biomechanical component.
Yeah, keep talking.
And what that kind of gives us, that's almost like the foundation of the triangle. So that's when you see a therapist like us, we're talking about that. We're talking about, in my case, we'll look at the neuromusculoskeletal system. So we'll look at the chassis of the body. We'll look at the joints. We'll look at that, and that's kind of the foundation. But just as important are the two other sides of the triangle, where we have the emotional component, right? Because it plays as important a role as does the biomechanical, and then we have the biochemical, which is all the toxins you're exposed to, the food you put in your body. So we're looking at all those things. In an evaluation, we might head down one route, but we can, through applied kinesiology, we can actually ask the body. So we can ask the patient, and we can look at a neurological response based on the input.
Muscle testing.
Through muscle testing, or through other things, through ranges of motion, based on the input or the stressor that we can stress the body, we can see a reaction. So if it's something emotional, we can actually tap into that, and we can see if then a patient would need a consult with someone, or would have someone to talk to, or would
or sometimes it's just the fact of getting it into their conscious mind and them realizing, oh yeah, okay, so I can see how this is building up compensation in my body because I'm not necessarily
Dealing with it. Yeah. What do? We
deal
kind of
with
push
our crap. You gotta
push
deal
things
with it.
under the rug. Right?
Yeah. So that's probably the biggest advice we could give is, and that's where we're heading into, is just to show you guys maybe some tools later at the end of how you can manage stuff like that. But the essentials are you want to decrease the amount of accumulation you have. So if you deal with your issues and your nervous system is very, very simple. If you, it will always resonate, excuse me, with how you're thinking, perceiving, going about things on a regular basis. So you can really tell, like even...
It's the computer that runs and controls you, right? It's always...
And it will respond to the way you see things and how you're feeling at that particular time. So we can actually have an impact on that just by changing the way we approach things with our mind. So that alone...
emotion. What is an emotion?
So emotion is just a reaction of having a repeated thing happen, and then this emotion comes out.
So give us some examples of emotions. Like we have...
Well, obviously we have joy. We have all the good ones.
Sadness.
In terms of sadness, anger, worry, and
fear.
Fear's a big one we see.
Yeah.
So there's some very specific zones that we look at in osteopathy that are related to these emotions. So if you're looking at something based in fear, we'd be thinking right away for the kidneys. Something in terms of anger, we'd be thinking more around the liver. Gallbladder more specifically with frustrated kind of perception of things. Then lungs would be sadness. The heart is matters of the heart. So there are these very specific zones in the body that if, for instance, we let things pile up, they can actually transfer from thought to becoming more in the energy field to becoming in the matter.
Physiological.
When it gets into the organ itself, starts affecting how we move, how we function.
Yeah, I guess an easy way to explain it is your body cannot perceive the difference between an imagined thought or emotion and an actual thought or emotion, right? So that's why we say we sometimes are our own worst enemies when we can get in our head and we can create these thought patterns that then create these emotional reactions that then, if left unresolved, can lead into different areas of our body and to lead into different dysfunctions, right? And a lot of this work is based on thousands of years, right? We are not acupuncturists, we are not traditional Chinese medicine, but we read, right? And a lot of these things have been studied over thousands of years of human observation, right?
Human consciousness, everything. So good point about the what was it you were saying about the dealing with the emotion?
Instead of dusting it under the rug.
Right. Yeah. So that's probably something we talk about the most, is being very specific about how we speak to ourselves, how we say words on a regular basis. It would be like someone coming in that is convinced and always saying that they've been with this pain for X amount of years and they will never get rid of it. Well, chances are that has become your reality, right? So changing that takes discipline in the sense of recognizing the words we're saying, the power that these words have. And you'll know it right away. Like if you go out and it's super nice out and there's this and there's that and you're always finding let's say the negative that's in things and chances are that the way you see things around you will always be in that light.
Yeah, the lens that you see the world through, right, is a direct reflection of your inner environment. So
absolutely, good point.
So it's very important to be conscious. So when you're in here with us, just it's time to talk about things and we can help direct you in the right direction. Like I said, we're not psychologists, we're not psychiatrists, but we do have an amazing network of people that we can refer you to if it's something, or just in your social network to talk to people and to not bury things down deep. It's so important, and the impact
I remember now.
The impact it has on your body is astounding, right?
Because a lot of our behavior pattern is due to stuff we've been through. That's how the brain works, right? We create these neural connections and these reactions,
patterns,
these
right?
belief systems from experience we've had, some of which we can keep, which is advantageous to us, and some others that aren't. Now, the idea now, and one of the bigger things that you'll hear even Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, great, interesting read. Changing the habit of being yourself, becoming supernatural, placebo effect. He is like one of the forerunners of.
He was in that book, or he was in the Secret.
He spoke in that. Yeah. So his big thing is again on meditation and thinking. How do I change the way I talk to myself all the time and these old belief systems and replace them with the ones that
positive,
what I want. Yeah. But really, at the end of the day, it's like anything. If you want something to happen, you got to focus on what that is regularly. If you don't, well, then the old system takes over, and you start repeating the same old song again.
I sound like a broken record when I say we are creatures of habit. We're literally victims of our habits, right? So the habits that you allow, right, into your lifestyle, that's the output. That's the output you get. So
it's amazing when you think that we have the choice to decide what that reality could be.
Yeah.
But we often decide because of fear of change and jumping into the unknown, of the uncomfortableness of a new phase, we stay in the old crappy one.
For sure.
So all to say, to get back to what we were talking about, is this is why tons of people have these alarm signs in the body that are showing them, and they should pay attention, that, listen, you are not respecting what I really want, what is going on here, and the body will react to that. It's really screaming at you to get your game together, you know.
And again, we can't stress this enough. This portion of health, right? This part of the three-sided triangle, right?
Yeah.
Not a four-sided triangle.
No.
This part is equally important as the other parts. So it's like a spoke in the wheel, right? If one of the spokes is gone, the wheel's not going to turn. So you have to address it. So having good people in your life, being conscious of your choices, being conscious of the thoughts you allow to dominate your head, being conscious of the people you keep in your circle. This is the secret. This is
a good point. Like the whole friend thing too. You know, like the in essence, it's putting everything in your corner that is going to allow you to manifest what it is that you're seeing in your mind. So like whether that be friends, whether that be routine. I talk about routine with people all the time. Routine in the sense of like, what is your routine? And I think that's the question we can ask people watching is like, what's your routine? Do you have a routine? And what I mean by routine, let's define that. Let's say you wake up, like I wake up every morning at 5. So I try and do it to get up before the kids so that I can have a little bit of a 10-minute window where I can meditate or think about things that I want to do in that day. The routine part is essential in order to have the consistency to create something different.
For sure.
If you want to create change, you got to rewire that brain in order to do that. So if we don't take the time to do it routinely, which I know you do the same thing, right?
You fail to plan,
it's hard.
Guess what? Plan to fail.
That's right. So expect the same result if you're doing the same thing all the time, right? So I think if we talk about some of the solutions, well, that's one of them. Routine. 2 would be deal with your crap, right? So how do we do that?
And I guess before we deal with your crap, just know that you have a choice in how you react to things too. That's a big one, right? Because like we say, emotion, there's a tie, there's a link towards certain meridians and certain systems of the body. So know that you always have a choice. Your reaction to things, there's always a choice to it. So, and the more present you are, the more conscious you are, the easier that becomes. And really you'll realize that things will roll much easier off your shoulders than allowing them to kind of sit and root down deep within your soul. So
all that stuff, what that creates in essence is resistance, right? At the end of the day,
for sure, resistance
is what breaks us down, whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, which way you want to look at it. So the less of that resistance we have, the more facility we'll have to move forward and achieve the things we want to do, which, again, coming back to the topic, is one of the ways or an essential component to reducing pain in the body and suffering on that sense.
Is addressing or understanding your emotions.
Right. Yeah.
So let's recap. Let's recap kind of what emotions are tied to what meridian system, what organ system of the body.
Yeah.
And so I'll let you recap those and.
Yeah, so again, so if there's certain systems like people will come back to, like for instance, if we give an example of like what we said before, so we're looking at anger related to the liver, right? So if we gave an example,
Yeah.
so let's say someone has this pent up frustration and anger about whatever, could be work, their spouse, the way that they're not dealing with things. We have this like buildup of anger in the body. Well, the liver is connected to specific muscles in the body.
Yeah.
Right. One of which being the pec muscle.
Yeah.
So, and it refers pain to the right shoulder.
Yeah.
So it happens quite often that people with shoulder problems, that potentially could be one of the reasons why it's happening.
Yeah,
Both on a mechanical sense.
So mechanical sense. So you'll observe if let
Yeah.
build for long enough, you could have mechanical changes that happen.
That's
you can
right.
have muscular changes that happen. You can have neurological changes that happen.
Yeah.
You can have organ system changes that happen. So
And one of the bigger ones, we're talking about organs here, but the diaphragm,
oh man,
probably the most emotional place in the body.
Yeah.
And there have been moments, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I don't know if we have, but I remember starting off at a private clinic and working on someone. I was still in school for osteopathy, and she came in, a 6-year-old woman that was like
60-year-old.
60.
They said
And-
6. So.
No. She had burning pain from the knee down to her foot. And I tested everything, and she was just very hard and to the point and annoyed with the fact that I was trying to figure things out. She just wanted me to fix it. And so I couldn't find anything in her leg, and she was lying down, and I was just telling her I was evaluating things, but I was actually didn't know what to do anymore. And I must have been like 25, and I put my hands on her diaphragm, and within minutes, she came out and said, "Is it possible that this could?" And then she started bawling. I've never seen a person sob like this before. And sure enough, what it was then she just spilt out
Yeah.
every single thing that went wrong that I asked her if she had anything traumatic.
Which she had denied her previously,
Oh,
probably, right?
Dude,
Yeah.
stuff from finding her friend that had died, her grandson passed away, or had an accident that was almost like ended her life. An embezzlement, there was
wow.
there was such a big buildup.
Stuff that she had let
She-
brew for.
But she didn't talk about this till probably 10 minutes after, bawling for 10 minutes. She got off the table, her leg didn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so the mere fact of just getting it out and not letting things like we need to kind of handle everything and be these superhuman people that never have emotion, it
Yeah.
doesn't even make sense.
No, exactly.
So-
you can't.
so
you
just
can't
remember
You
that.
can't bottle things up, right? You
No,
can't.
no. It'll eventually come back to
Yeah,
you.
I'm guilty of it. You're guilty. We're all
Yeah,
guilty of it,
for
right?
sure.
So we're all working. We're all working on it to improve and to be better human beings, so that we can help others, right?
We
So
both have to work with Jay every day.
I know.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, frustrating,
You know?
anger.
That's why he couldn't be here today, because he'd be crying right now, for sure, relentlessly.
Which is okay.
Yeah,
Which is okay.
he can do that. That's fine.
So
So,
that
routine.
routine.
Let's just give the rundown of what they could do at home to help this situation out. Right.
Yeah.
So number one, the most simple thing: talk about it. Whether it's with a friend, whether it's through
Your partner,
writing it,
writing
whether it's
it,
through
yeah.
just you verbalizing it. Get it out. Deal with it. You don't want to hold that in. That's the most easy one.
Easy.
Two is then the routine. So either it's a breathing exercise, something to bring you back down to actually re-regulate your stress regulation is huge in addressing the response to you holding stuff in.
So breathing. Here's a quick little side story to breathing. But I did this awesome breathwork seminar one day.
Yeah.
And the guy explained it this way. It's actually kind of cool. He took a plastic water bottle and he's holding it up in front of us and he puts a dent in it, right? And he goes, that was a divorce. And he puts another dent. And he goes, that was losing your job. And he puts another dent in this plastic water bottle. And he's got it all shriveled up like this. And he goes, all right, what we're gonna do in here is is he was trying to explain it such a super simple way, and he goes like this, and he did a huge breath into the water bottle, and some of the dents came out.
Yeah.
And he says, so through breathing and through breath work,
Yeah.
through consistent, right, practice, he's like, you're not going to be able to get rid of all the dents in the first time you do it.
Yep.
But guess what? Through breath work and connection to the body, the diaphragm, right, being conscious, being present, you're slowly going to be able to
Yeah.
breathe those dents away. Anyways, it was an awesome analogy he used, one that I'll remember forever, but it's so true. So,
Yeah.
so developing a routine, breathing,
And then looking at, I guess one of the exercises you could take away from this, start looking at how you talk to yourself. How
Oh.
you react to situations. What are the things you do
yeah, what's
on
the self-talk?
on a regular basis that you're annoyed with?
Yeah.
You know, like, why do I react like that? Well, change it. Just
Change it, yeah.
think about it, replace it with what you'd like to see, and you got to spend that time almost religiously every day, having this just a little bit of time where you can think about these things and make them come about.
Because it takes practice. It takes practice, right? And we're all practicing. We're all evolving. So,
So
awesome.
hopefully soon we can have a little workshop here.
I would love. We should do that
Yeah,
breath
yeah,
work.
I think we'll do it.
It was amazing.
Okay.
So yeah. So if you guys could vote who wore it best,
Yeah, that'd be great.
today. So we
Whoever
didn't.
loses does push up.
We didn't call each other, but just by chance, we were
Yeah.
emotionally on the same wavelength
synced.
this morning. We were synced up.
Yeah.
We miss Mark. Mark was super fun last week.
Oh, we'll have him back.
We're gonna have him back. We
Yeah,
had
yeah.
like some amazing feedback from Mr. Mark Toskes.
Yeah.
He's unreal. Kevin and I both learned so much last week. You read all that stuff, but the way he presented it was fascinating. So if you didn't watch that video,
Yeah, go back
go
and
watch.
see it.
Go watch Mark Toskes dairy, and then the one before was about air, water,
Yeah.
meat, and bread, sourdough bread. He's just he's passionate about life. He's so fun to have around, and yeah, we love every bit of him. So we're gonna have him back.
Yeah.
And we'd like to say thank you.
Yeah.
Spread the word. If you got anything valuable out of this video, share it with your friends. If
Let
you
us
need,
know what you want.
Yeah, let us know what you want. If you have any questions, comments, don't hesitate.
Yeah.
We're here to learn with you and from you. So have a great, wonderful weekend.
Keep talking. I'll shut it
Yeah,
off.
shut it off. All right, yeah, because
My turn.
we invested in a new lens for this thing. So, but it's anyways. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Take care, guys.